Peters.
Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation, we are back. This is the Just Okay Sports Podcast. That's Just Oklahoma Sports Podcast and Just an Okay Podcast. I'm one of your villages, Daryl. I'm here with my brother Jared, aka J Rod, and we are here with Troy, aka Corporate Troy. Gentlemen, how's our Tuesday after a lovely weekend of Sooner football?
We had an auction, didn't we, Daryl?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Dang it.
We had a fantasy football auction that we both forgot, trying to get Troy in here. And which
Holy
means
crap.
every player I wanted, I just missed out on.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
I got Bucky Irving. Jared, how's your fantasy league going?
I'm not in any.
What? That's right.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Do you not you don't love the fantasy football?
I do, but I hate doing ones where it's like a one-off every year kind of thing, and like all the ones that I've been in that lasted, like I was in that one that was like 12 or 13 years going. And so when it folded, I kind of was like, I don't really want to fight to make another one by myself. You know what I mean? So just don't not in one.
That's fair. Yeah, Daryl and I just immediately went to our phone.
I had to get at least one. And I'm trying to get one more.
I got two. Anywho, yeah, my Tuesday's fine. It was a really, really long day. One of those, from like, I got into the office at 7:30. I had to get up early because we were having a potluck lunch as a team, and made queso, so I had to make that first. Then got in early, all day till 4:00 training, and then came straight home, worked out with my son, built a piece of furniture on the back patio, and then forgot we were doing this and was late.
Well, let's be honest. You might have wanted to forget that we're doing this because there's not a lot of sunshine and rainbows. I don't imagine.
No, Daryl. There is sunshine and rainbows because I get to talk to you and your brother. I get to talk to both of you, which I love.
Mostly me.
I love you both so much. I'm already 2 beers in.
With no food on the belly. This is going to get interesting. So, well. Why don't we just dive into it? I titled our flow tonight, Houston, we have a problem.
I like that. That's a good job. I like that.
Yeah. We're in trouble. And
Troy liked it so much he's not looking at it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know where to start, man. I guess
how about this? Let's start with the good. Can we start with the good?
We always try to end with the good. That's the thing.
No.
We always try to end on the positive. No?
There's not a lot of positive right now.
Okay? Oh my gosh. Okay.
The defense is legit.
I think they're good.
Hold on. There was stuff that made you take pause, Houston.
Yes.
On the defensive side, what? The one fall down that Kanai had?
No, we've had 2 weeks of playing really bad teams, and our defensive ends are not getting home.
But our D tackles are.
That is in my opinion, that is the outcome of playing two teams that are not very good. And when you start to play,
maybe it's not. Maybe Grayson Holton and Jaden Jackson are just that good.
Sure. Even so, do you not believe that they're going to squeeze down and double your D tackles and leave your defensive ends on islands, which, by the way, that's pretty much been the case already. And you still have yet to get a sack from you have one sack from your defensive ends. One.
Hey, maybe they're not asked to get sacks. You thought about that?
I love your sunshine and rainbows there. That's
maybe they're not asked. Maybe they're asked to hold the edge.
But their depth at D tackle, the depth at linebacker, the depth of all that great, and they're all really good. I still think this defense is really good.
Do we know is Peyton Bowen okay?
I've heard hamstring, so I would doubt he plays this week.
That's okay because we're really freaking deep at safety as well.
It's true. It is true. It is true. But yes,
do
the
you-
defense is good. And our punter, our punter's great.
I'm not talking about our punter. Jared, how do you feel like the corners have played?
I thought I actually thought Woody Washington had a little bit of a rough game. Just to like go over the whole secondary. I think Woody Washington had a little bit of a rough game. RSJ had a couple of moments, which I think BV even said his presser that one of those was he got the signal late.
The big touchdown coming out of halftime. Like that was the one.
Yeah.
But also, like, Kanai fell down on that play.
Yeah, but it was RSJ that was supposed to be out there. I mean, like, he was supposed to be in the flat. They got the signal in late. He was supposed to be back. And that came right after that Woody Washington play where it should have been an interception. And they called PI, which I thought was one of the weakest calls I've ever seen on PI.
Dude, that was
Can
not PI, by the way.
Since I didn't get to really mention a whole lot, can I just say that again, the Big 12, because the Big 12 crew, by the way, officiating the game.
It was.
There was 2 plays back to back in the first or second quarter, the first half of the game, where again, it was D tackles, sure, but the D tackles absolutely obliterated their guy and basically got ripped to the ground by their jerseys.
Yeah.
And no call. Like there was one that literally led to a massive play.
You're on the pod already. You're on the pod already. It's in my bag right there.
Mrs. Fight makes an
You're
appearance.
you're gonna have to get on the pod no matter what. Just go ahead and get the bag.
You're already on the pod.
You're on now.
Yeah, they're saying you're already on the pod. Don't take my bag. Don't take my bag. Give me my bag. I will get the thing.
I'll bring it back.
Hey, if Calvin wants to come be on the pod, you want to be on the pod?
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Fair now.
This is amazing
Look,
content.
Look, so
Calvin can be on the pod if he wants.
I think the Big 12, the Big 12 crew was like, okay, so they're still not going to call holds. We did get one holding call, I think. So, make up call, I guess. But yeah, I did think some of that was a little. I thought the corners played pretty well overall, though. I mean, I think this was probably not as good of a showing as week 1, but that's hard to say because I think Houston's better than Temple. But I also think they didn't play as well either, just overall. But I thought, again, I would give them like a B minus grade, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I thought the safety wasn't a safety, by the way.
No, and the muffed punt was not a muffed punt.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I was like, oh, so this is what it's like to be in the SEC.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
That both of those calls were not great. Now the safety was close. It was much closer, honestly, than the muffed punt.
I couldn't believe they said it still stands.
I could not either. That was when I saw
you were there, weren't you, Derek?
Yes, I was right there. I was literally like 50 feet from that.
Yeah, I mean, watching it on
when
TV, watching it
live, I thought it was for sure muffed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
But when I saw the replay, I was like, oh, he did not touch that. I was like,
the only thing like on TV live, it looked like because that ball had a very weird bounce. So it looked like it hit his hand.
It did. It looked like it almost like grazed his hand or whatever.
Yeah, and then that was a little weird. But the fact that he didn't react to it, I was like, I don't know that anybody's like that present minded to not react. The safety though, I thought the safety was I mean, it was so close to the fact that they ruled it. That I was like, they're not going to be able to overturn it. I don't think. Because like if 1 inch, like 1 millimeter of that ball is touching the goal line, then that's a safety.
Yeah,
it just has to be touching. It doesn't have to be fully in the end zone. It doesn't mean anything. It just has to touch the goal line.
Yeah, and honestly, I felt like it was clear that it wasn't. But the argument they're always going to make is the camera wasn't perfectly down the line, therefore they can't say with absolute certainty that the ball wasn't in. Like I think that's where that came from. But both those calls were, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I always put it in this perspective. If those calls, if that had been Billy Bowman, who probably should have muffed more punts, if that had been Billy Bowman back there, the stadium would have come unglued if they would have said he touched that ball. If that had been, if
we're not talking about the bad yet, Daryl. We're not talking about the bad.
No, but I'm saying we're saying I understand why they didn't overturn those calls. If it had been in our you see what I'm saying? there's no
So
way I watch that replay and go, he touched that ball. There's no way. Like it was
So-
clear he did not touch it, and it was pretty clear to me he got out of the end zone before
sure.
Grayson Halton made contact. That's
All right. So all that being said, I want to stick with a positive for a moment. Okay. Out of the first two games, let's talk about what has surprised us in a positive way that we weren't expecting. Okay. For me, it's Grayson Holton. Like has stepped up and been a little bit of a revelation at D tackle. We knew he was going to be part of the depth. I didn't know he was going to be this good as part of the depth so far.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Dominic Williams had his moment too. Jaden Jackson, like
Dominic-
you did deep
dude,
tackle, you're looking pretty good.
is it just me or does Jaden Jackson have like an incredibly quick push every time off the ball? It is wild.
He's got a great
honestly.
first step. He's got a great first step for a D tackle. It's fun to watch. It's really
What about you guys? In a positive, not just defense, maybe offense as well. Like what a good positive that's come out of the first two games.
Go, Jared. I'll have to think a lot longer to be positive.
You stupid. Go ahead, Jared.
I mean, I think Javonte Barnes still shows that like he's
Oh, that's
elevated.
a good one. Yeah.
I mean, he had a good. I mean, obviously, we're gonna get into the negative in a minute, but when he did get a couple of times, like he shows that he has that mobility and that elusiveness. That we saw at the Cheez Bowl or whatever.
He is hands down our best back that they've allowed to get the ball right now.
Yeah, Gavin Sawchuk I think could be, but Gavin Sawchuk isn't able to read right now. Like I don't think he can read the gaps very well.
Oh, okay, okay. I have a sidebar on that. Go forward in the negative.
But I mean Gavin Sawchuk I think has a lot of tools. I still think the running back room is pretty good. And then I guess to give you one more is I think Deion Burks is still really good, even though he took blame for the interception. Deion Burks is really stinking good.
Daryl?
The tight ends that we actually do.
Well done. That's a good one too.
That they really can. I mean, look.
Did you know that Jake Roberts was graded as the second best tight end in the country last week by PFF?
I could believe that. He blocks really. I mean, for a tight end, he's a good blocker. Like he really is, and they're kind of using him more in that role. And Bauer's role is definitely more as like the pass catcher. But I love the fact that they're using him, the fact that they're usable has been a revelation, and that we're using them. And look, there's been some good play that they've called it twice, but when they were on the goal line and they brought Cade McIntyre into the game and put 3 tight ends on the field, guys, they went 13 personnel with Cade McIntyre on the field. And they ran the motion where they were going to do their little split zone play. And that's what got Jake Roberts wide open. Like, because they run that stupid split zone, inside zone all the time. And here came McIntyre, and Jake gives the 1 second pump. And as soon as the linebacker took a step, he bumped right. And I was like, that's a great play design, great play call. Like, you have to make a decision there. And I wouldn't even doubt that that's an RPO type play, to be honest, where if they feel like the C's part, he can give it. And if not, he just pops it right over the top of it, and then they ran it, on 2nd and 9, which was a ballsy call. And again, what did they go to? They went to the tight end to get what they needed to get. So the tight ends have been a revelation compared to the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Dude, it's been really nice. And another positive that I will segue into the negative, okay, is literally the heartbeat of the team. Everybody is taking blame. Like literally everybody, from Seth Luttrell to Brent to Dion to Jackson, everybody's saying it's on me. It's on me. I love that attitude. Everybody is like manning up. We got to get better. Like, Bates, like all these guys are saying we've got to be better. We've got to be better. Like it's on me, right? I love that attitude. But let's freaking see it. I am done with this ish now. So, Daryl, take it away.
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of bad. So before we all go off on our bads, I do think, and look, everybody's done this week on a podcast. If they are worth anything as a podcast, you have to take in and acknowledge the things that we knew or have become known are problems for this team. Look, we knew Jackson Arnold was going to be up and down. If you went into this season believing he was going to complete 80% of his passes and throw for 17,000 yards and no interceptions, you're just an idiot and don't know football. Like, the guy is on his third start. He has a terrible offensive line. He's going to be up and down. I thought game 1, he was great. I thought game 2, he was eh. I do not think he was terrible like some people are saying he was, but he was not good either in game 2. I'd also have to acknowledge that 4 of the top 5 wide receivers are out. Andrell did not play. Gibson's out. Farouk is out. Anderson's out. Like, that's a lot to overcome. Your starting center is out. Technically, your backup center, because I believe
your top 3 centers are out. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, really, on some level, it's true because, we're kind of learning. They tried to put Garen Hatchett in there because of his experience, because Josh Bates got some kind of arm injury where Brent Venables in the postgame said Josh did some good things considering he was playing on one arm. So there's something going on with Josh Bates that he's gutting out. Your starting right tackle out. I mean, look, by the way, Jake Taylor from the start of that game looked like he looked like an 85-year-old man trying to play college football. They should not have played him. He was not ready to be out there and play. And then the other side is, one of these transfer O linemen that you brought in to be great is out for the year, and so that's gone. I do think
which
there's
one's
also
out for the year?
Hatchett. Garen Hatchett's gone for the year.
It just happened.
And then,
bicep, right?
Yes. And then I think you have to acknowledge that, look, Joe John Finley's never been an offensive coordinator. I know he's the co-coordinator, but that he's got to have some kind of major say, and he's never had that job before. And then Luttrell, it's his first year at his dream school. I have no doubt that Luttrell feels some legit pressure to do this right because he loves this place so much. And you got to wonder how that's going to affect him. And anytime you bring in someone new with a new offense, it's going to take time to gel. All those are legitimate, these are not excuses. They're facts. I mean, those are just facts of things that do not help a football team be great. From there, Jared, I'll let you go. What was awful to you so far through the first 2 games?
I mean, the problem I have with like the Seth Luttrell thing is like Seth Luttrell's experienced.
Yeah.
And it felt like the play calling was horrendous. Like I felt like I was watching it's like maybe I was too harsh with Jeff Lebby. I don't know. But I mean, we had this. It's the same thing, and I don't really understand. Maybe it's just a factor of like running that. I don't even know what you want to call our offense anymore because it's spread. I don't know. But like getting away from the run. I understand that you're not having a ton of success every time, but it's like there was like a whole quarter where it felt like we ran the ball like twice. And it just didn't feel like it was like I didn't feel like they were really doing anything. Like I felt like Seth Luttrell did not do anything to help Jackson Arnold get in any sort of rhythm or to get in any sort of comfort zone throughout, especially from
not just Jackson Arnold, the entire offense.
Yeah. I didn't feel like that he really did anything that helped them do that. So yeah, that's a big thing, and that doesn't. If you're not setting your guys up for success, it doesn't really matter if you have a 5-star at every position at that point. If you're not putting him in a position to succeed, it doesn't really matter. So I put a lot of blame at his feet. However, the offensive line, pretty abysmal. Like you said, I would actually go as far as to say that they played a little bit better than they did week 1, all things considered.
I thought they pass blocked a lot better, but they didn't run block better.
No, it might have been worse.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So there's a lot to clean up there. There's a lot of questions that I think we all have there, right? That's a big, I think we're all kind of going, what's happening? But again, I that's a whole can of worms. I mean, I know Daryl was ready to fire Bill Beedenbow like yesterday, but I don't know. That's such a weird situation just overall, considering the things that have happened over the last couple of years.
Is it his? Okay, let me ask you this: is it Bill's fault that we don't have a healthy offensive line?
No, but what I would say is even the starters are not great. Like,
But
I
okay, I agree, and I'm not trying to make excuses here, but there has to be a level of cohesion and and being able to work together on that offensive line, right? And communicate together, right?
sure. I think that's one of
No,
the
no, no,
most
no.
I think that's one of the most overplayed cards by OU fans because we are the only freaking team in the country that year in and year out with Bill, we don't know who our line is and what they're doing until week 5. We're the only school that does that.
Are you? I want to push back on that a little bit. Are you sure? Because you've gone to all 130 whatever teams and
I'm saying
done
that's
this
an
research.
identity within. And so now we try to use this. Oh, well, they're figuring it. It's your job to find not who gels. It's your job to find the 5 most talented linemen and put them on the field and make them gel. That's development.
But we also know that BV supports seniority over everything.
Okay. Dumb.
But is that on Bill or is that on BV?
I think it's both of them.
So
Because I don't
I've
think
seen,
Bill's any
we've
different in
seen
that.
Bill,
If you
we've
go
seen
through all
Bill,
these years, like Creed Humphrey sat on the bench for 5 weeks, didn't play, and all of a sudden the OU Texas game, you know what? Let's give Creed a try. And guess what happened? They stopped Texas, and all of a sudden the offensive line looked really good. Like, what a revelation. Last year, the line was porous. It had ups and downs the whole start of the season. We go into OU Texas. We finally decide to give Caden Green a shot. And again, on this podcast, we had a coach reach out to us and say, Caden Green should be on the field. He's one of the 5 best linemen. Jacob Sexton should be on the field. He's one of the 5 best linemen. And when they put him in, guess what? Things took off. That's your job. Like, that's like saying, well, the wide receivers just have to be able to know when to really make their cut or not. If that guy's the best slot and if that guy's the best outside guy, it is my job as the coach to get them in sync, not keep mixing and matching, and then all of a sudden go, okay, we're going to let these 5 play. And then all of a sudden it works and we're all going, they gelled. No, you just put your 5 best on the field.
Look, here's my thing. Because I'm, I guess, somewhat in the middle on this. I don't disagree. Like, you have to put your 5 best guys out there, and that's what's infuriating last year. We talked about that for basically half the season. Right now, I like the guy that I'm still high on. I was high on him before, and it's like I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. I know he played very little, but it's like compared to what we've seen, I don't know how he could be any worse. Why are we not playing somebody like EPL?
Well, did you hear what Brent said today?
No, I guess
EPL
not.
is actually getting reps with the first team right now, and where the other freshman, who's our other touted freshman?
Brooks. Eugene Brooks.
Thank you. Is on the practice squad, and where EPL is actually starting to get reps. So I bet you because of all the injuries, EPL gets some play this week.
So, but here's my thing. Like, the whole gelling thing, like, I think there's truth to that in the sense of, like, when you're doing like a GT counter or something, right? Like, you need to have the cohesion to know I'm going to pull with this guy, and this is kind of how I need to be in rhythm with him to set that block and that flow right. That's gelling. Like, going out there and like just doing plain Jane pass protection, that's not gelling. Like, when you're just getting a basic swim move, nothing exotic, nothing crazy.
No, but like
when the dude walks past you.
But when they're running stunts and blitzers are coming, that's when that O line gets confused.
But that's what everybody wants to highlight. But they're getting beat straight up.
You're not wrong.
There's times that they're not pulling stunts. They're just running right at him, and they don't know how to.
And again, that's not a cohesion thing. That is,
that's what I'm saying.
And so I'm going to say this. And this isn't to support either side. of this argument.
Oh
I don't
man,
even think we're arguing
you are in
anything,
full
by the way.
politic debate mode tonight. I love it. Go.
Well, there's a debate going
I
on
know.
as
That's
we
why.
speak
That's why I
about the
said that.
country. We should probably be talking about the debate,
No,
honestly.
we should not. They're
All right.
both terrible.
That's okay. I'm not going there. Completely agree, by the way. Anywho, so I think the biggest fault of BV, and it trickles down to the rest of his staff, is his desire for experience and seniority to trump talent. Yes.
I'll give one rebuttal to that. Now, granted,
Who
I think
Peyton
Zion.
Bowen?
I think Zion Raggins and Peyton Bowen both are
Zion
examples.
Raggins is not. That's an irrelevant argument because of injury.
I was about to say injuries played a part in that, right? But he didn't put Jacquez Petaway out there. He put Raggins out there.
Did you hear why? Because he's dealing with another injury, another dude with an injury.
No, I hadn't even heard that.
Yeah,
But
he's dealing with I think a hammy or an ankle injury. Yes, that's why he didn't play.
All that to say, he's played some. I think, yes, he does like experience and seniority. I also think that, and I don't know how to feel about this. I think that he values so much their off the field stuff that they do that even if a guy is more talented and makes more plays, they're not going to play if they don't do all the little things he wants them to do off the field.
I agree. Is Peyton Bowen the exception to the rule? And Jaden Jackson as well.
Yeah. But Jaden does all the stuff.
He does all the stuff. I don't know if Peyton does, but apparently he's just such an otherworldly talent, they can't keep him off.
Yeah, no, he's legit.
Well,
but yes, I do think that's part of the problem. I think Bill's that way too. Bill was that way with Lincoln. I mean, again,
I agree.
He's
and I want to go
always
back to
that way.
I want to go back to something you said, Jared. You mentioned you're like, maybe I was too Jeff Lebby, right? We have had an embarrassment of riches at offensive coordinator. Even Heupel, we ran Heupel out of town. Like, let's be honest.
Heupel was pretty bad. Heupel was pretty bad.
He was not great. But I would take Heupel right now, and I wouldn't take the Heupel at Tennessee. I would take the Heupel at OU right now.
Ooh,
honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I'm not
because
there
here's the thing.
I think Heupel's grown a lot since he left OU. He can hate OU all he wants, but
he was at UCF, right?
Yes.
Yeah, UCF. He was great at UCF. He's really grown at Tennessee. And whatever the point spread is, I'm taking Tennessee in the points at this point.
Yes.
Seriously.
No.
But like, I agree with you. Like, I want to go back to the point where you're talking about like, we were too harsh on Levy. I believe we were. And we are also coming from the mastermind that is Lincoln Riley. I hate the freaking dude, but I will sit here and say he's one of the best offensive minds on this planet.
Yeah.
When it comes to football.
Yeah.
And so we had that for a number of years, and we go to Levy.
Well, and this is why. And that's why I highlighted maybe this is just a thing of the system that we have to understand, because Lincoln did the same thing where he got away from the run, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like where he would go out there and run.
He got better at implementing the run throughout his years.
Yes and no, but there were still times and critical moments where he just would go out there and try to throw the ball every down.
Lincoln was the master of this. Lincoln could always get to the end of the season and go, we ran the ball 51 or 52% of the time. Therefore, we were a running team. But if you ever looked at his second half stats, it was like 35%. He would never commit to the run in a second half, ever.
Look, here's the biggest thing, I think. This is what I'm trying to get to. And this is where this is.
So, you know.
Well, he's muted. I'm sure his wife's coming to bring him his bag back.
Yeah, his bag back.
I guess I'll wait because I do want Troy's feedback on this. But like I am gonna go like, okay, I'm gonna go dark. I'm gonna go dark Jared for a minute. When you look at the last 2 weeks, let's take Temple. It's 6 turnovers,
Right.
right? You scored 51 points, but 4 of those turnovers off the top of my head gave you extremely short fields. Like you were in plus territory from the
Right.
rip.
Yeah.
So, and obviously everybody was already questioning that. It's like but I was like, this is what frustrates me, and this is where I still have a slight concern about like Jackson Arnold's answer. Well, we won 51-3. Who cares? It's like, bro, you scored 51 points because Temple handed you 40 something of them, right? This week was the same thing. Houston didn't make that many mistakes, and even when they did give us a short field, we couldn't move the ball.
Well, that I would disagree. They only were in the red zone twice. They were only in the
Who?
red zone twice in that
OU?
game. Yes. And they scored touchdowns on both of them.
No, but they had the turnover. If I recall, they had a turnover where we had the ball at like midfield, maybe
We
just
did.
barely plus territory.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we did
and we
move the
didn't-
ball on that drive. No, we
and we
did
had to
not.
punt.
Yeah,
But
correct.
that's one time. That's one time.
But
Right.
here's what my point is that you had the drive. But to me, it's like you had 2 good drives in this game
Yes.
against a team that everybody knows is not any good right now.
But
right?
okay, so let me give it up to myself on this because we talked about this last week and I got called crazy person in the comments and everywhere else. And I said one of my conspiracy theories for why Houston looked so bad against UNLV was because that he was going to put all of his marbles in for the OU game because he's trying to rebuild a program that got left with nothing. And listening to the breakdown and listening to some other people that do massive tape deal, they did not run hardly one play that they did against UNLV against us.
They even highlighted it on I don't know if y'all noticed, but on the broadcast, they highlighted it that they said Houston usually does a no huddle sort of offense, and they were huddling for like the first half of the game. They would huddle and then they would run out there and set and go quick. But they came from a huddle, so you couldn't adjust. You couldn't shift. You couldn't do anything. They had to line up in a base defense and do their best.
And
Danny, I thought the
Danny,
defense still played well.
And they did.
They did.
Danny said in the post game, he said, look, every tendency they had, they went against throughout the entire game, like the lineups, everything. So again, like I'm not trying to give a pass to anything. I'm just saying I think they did it defensively as well. That the normal coverages that they ran, they did not run. They did everything different than what they had done all the way through.
Two things. Let me say 2 things. One is we have to highlight. We did not highlight on the good. Danny Stutzman is the best linebacker in the country. Danny Stutzman is so freaking good. Do you remember seeing that play at the line of scrimmage where he lit the dude up?
Yes.
Like he wasn't coming full blast, and he lit that dude up at the line of scrimmage. 2, what were we just talking about? Because I have a good point. What were you?
The beer's kicking in.
No, it is a little bit, but
he was saying basically like against Temple, the only reason that we scored the points we did was because of the turnovers. We didn't really do anything offensively. And then against Houston, they didn't give us anything. And that's why we didn't score points.
Yeah, I had a point there. I don't remember. Go ahead.
And Jackson Arnold looked massively. I mean, the thing was, this is what I'll give Jackson Arnold week 1. Like, to circle back to that I would not give him this week. Week 1, he was getting blown up and still throwing the ball. Like, I mean, his first touchdown pass, he got lit up, still threw a dot. This week, it felt like he was a little bit more hesitant, a little bit more scared, a little bit more trigger happy.
Wouldn't you be?
I don't know why that is. Yeah, but it ain't going to get any better when you go play Tennessee.
Dude,
No, but that's the thing.
We need to get Tennessee out of our mind. We just need to worry about Tulane.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's let me say this real quick because I do want to highlight something that I thought was really, just to go back to the whole Lincoln Riley era. Latrell McCutcheon, Houston ended up losing. Okay, albeit we didn't cover the spread or whatever. Ended up losing. Latrell McCutcheon. Somebody posted something like revenge season with a picture of Latrell at the game. And then he retweeted it and said something and then limited the replies. And I was like, bro, oh my God.
He didn't play
bro.
bad. Latrell McCutcheon didn't play bad.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But I'm just like, dude, if you're going to be that guy that's mad at OU for whatever reason, like
dude,
at least have the testicular fortitude. And
but
not,
we
not
we also
replies.
know everybody that went with Lincoln doesn't have any testicular fortitude. So there you go.
True. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that game 2 that Jackson Arnold played well. I'm not going to sit here and say the game plan was magnificent, but there were some really good plays drawn up. And again, this is where we've talked about this a lot with this OU team, but like there's the pass on 3rd down and whatever. Raggins actually runs a good route. It's a good call against the coverage.
Totally freaking drops the ball.
And he totally drops the ball. The deep
And
ball.
the play before that was a wide receiver screen to Brennan Thompson that he dropped the ball as well.
Correct. So you had 2 drops in a row. And then that's where Jackson, I think, got flustered. The line did break down several times and got pressure to him, which I think made him antsy. He had guys dropping the ball everywhere, which made him antsy. He finally unloaded a ball to Burks, and Burks just, I mean, you can go watch the play. As soon as he broke on his post route, he doesn't even look for the ball. And because he quits on the route, Jackson throws it as soon as he breaks. And the ball's going to be where he's going. And instead, when he breaks, he just veins it off behind the safety and doesn't even know that the safety's making a play on the ball because he assumed that Jackson wouldn't throw him the ball. And he was one-on-one with the safety, and Jackson was saying, Burks, I need you to make a play. And Burks doesn't make a play. He has no running game. They cannot run the ball. I mean, even when Barnes is going in there like a violent hammer, he's getting 2 yards, which now puts you at 2nd and 8, and you don't trust the run to get you anything else. I mean, you try to open the game up again with kind of the jet sweep thing to Burks, and he gets blown up 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage because nobody can block. I mean, the focal point issue is not Seth Luttrell, though he has issues. The focal point issue is not Jackson Arnold, though he has issues because he's young. The focal point issue is not even the wide receivers, who Troy and I were both at the game. There were so many times the fans were making me livid. He's open. He's not open. There's a safety right over the top of him, and if he throws that ball, it's a pick. And
Jackson made good decisions outside of the interception.
And even that again was on Burks more than it's on Jackson. It is way more, and Burks admitted it after practice last night. Straight up said it. So the number one issue is the line, because if you had a run game, it would open the RPO game up more. If you had blocking where Jackson felt comfortable to stand in there, he would deliver more balls, and the receivers would have more time to get open, which they are struggling to do right now because you're on your number 6 wide receiver.
I don't disagree. Jared, I want to get your thoughts on what I'm about to say here in a second.
Okay.
I'm putting it more on Luttrell because so you don't have a good offensive line. You've got banged up wide receivers. You have wide receivers that can't get open. You have a skittish quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do something different than what you're doing.
Okay, but
hold on.
Time out.
Because
the screenplay is the screenplay a good play when your offensive line's porous?
Hold on. Did he move the pocket at all?
Yes. They had a
twice, and
completion.
they did great, and they didn't go back to it in the second half.
True.
What did they do? What did they do in the second half on first down? Because I'm going to give Al and Jim credit on this one for looking this up.
They ran the ball every time.
Every 9 out of 10 first and 10s, they ran the ball. And you know how many yards they got total?
1
out of 9 plays.
9
is like 20 total yards, maybe.
No, they got 9. They averaged 1 yard a run.
That's my point. Their average yards to gain in that game was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8.7 or something like that. And so, Luttrell, do something different, and especially the second half. Do something different. Roll him out. Don't run Jackson Arnold on 3rd and 8. Don't do it. 3rd and 8. Well, it's a quarterback draw, right? Don't do that. So I put it more on Luttrell because you're not like you got to see what you have and do something different.
Okay.
Don't run Sawchuk up the middle. Run him outside. You're running Barnes and Tatum outside, but you're running Sawchuk up the middle. He's one of the fastest dudes we have in the team. Run him outside. Pitch the ball.
I agree with you on that one completely. All the rest of it, I mean, what do you do? Oh, you and I can agree the receivers were not getting open, right?
Right, but they're
okay.
He's
So
not running crossers. He's not running crossers.
But here's what. Okay, here's my thought. Like, because Troy did say he wanted my thoughts on this. Look, The problem I had with Seth Luttrell's play calling was like there was several drives where it felt like he would do a little bubble screen or whatever. Like he would do some little dink and dunk sort of pass, and he would do one and then immediately try to do like all fades. It felt like, and I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Like nobody's buying into anything right now. Like you're not. You know what I mean? Like he never committed to any part of any facet of his game plan enough. Like I understand if you're only getting 1 yard of carry, you can't run the ball 100 times in the game. But if you just completely get away from the run, nobody's going to respect you. They're not going to bring anybody else in the box because they don't need to because they know you're not going to run.
But they weren't bringing anybody in the box to stop the run. That's what you guys don't like.
But
y'all say this, but they had 5 guys in the box and they're stopping the run. So what good does it do to commit to the run when all they have to do is keep 5 guys in the box and stunt it? And then y'all are going to say, we can't block it. Why do we keep going to this? Like it's
here's
what I'm saying.
Do an option, do something. Sorry, Jared, go ahead.
What I'm saying is I don't care. I'm not even saying that you have to run the ball up the middle. I'm not saying any of that. Run the ball outside. Give some flavor to it, dude. Do something. Like I'm tired of hearing vanilla play call. Dude, get it out of here. You can't even do that. You can't do vanilla play call.
I agree with
like
you
crap.
on that. I agree with you on that.
But do something different. Do something like it doesn't mean you got to run. You've got 2 plays that you can run. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're going to do it do it in enough ways that they have to start saying, well, we know they're not going to run at the middle. Maybe they're going to do a little toss outside, do a speed option, whatever. Do a short passing game, whatever. We never committed to what I'm saying is the overall. We would do 1, maybe 2 like short sort of like passing plays or a run and then immediately try to go over the top. And it's like, what are we like? That's not how this works.
I completely disagree. Like, I'm sorry. Like we just said what they committed to in the second half and y'all are saying we shouldn't have done it. They committed to trying to run on first down through the middle. They
committed to right up the middle, up the center. What's our most injured position
but
on the
now
team?
when they do something else and it does, because the short passing game, go look at it. You know what it was averaging us on a reception? About 3 yards. You know how many times
better than 1?
Okay, it's not any better to be 2nd and 7.
Daryl, what I'm saying is you're taking this in the scope of the entire game. And what I'm saying is if you don't, I'm not saying that you need to run the ball 10 times in a row. Not what I'm saying. You need to run the ball. Running it on first down, great. Cool, fine. But it's like you have to be able to run the ball more. You have to figure out a way to leverage that part of your game. You have to be able to leverage the short passing game before you all of a sudden start trying to hit a home run ball out of nowhere.
Okay,
when
Jared,
you're not successfully...
here's my problem with what you're saying. This is like when we had Andre Robertson playing for the Thunder saying, well, we need to keep shooting threes to keep them honest. You know what that did? Nothing. No one ever worried about Andre Robertson shooting a 3 because it didn't work. It didn't work. You know what go through all the charts. Y'all go show me the number 1 most successful play that we have as a team right now. What is it?
Hang on. You're missing my entire point. I'm not limiting it to what we've done. If you're the offensive coordinator for the University of Oklahoma, you come up with plays that you know your team can at least half execute. That's your job. I don't care if it's a speed. I don't care if we go to the triple option and the Wildcat. Do something where you can run the freaking button.
And y'all just said don't do the one play that's been successful. That's why he went to it on 3rd and 11.
What was the
quarterback power is the most successful play they have had.
Then I don't care. I never said don't run it.
I'm saying don't run it on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. That's what I'm saying. Be creative.
What I'm saying,
play calling. Go run outside. When was the last time you saw a pitch to the running back for a run to the outside off tackle?
The only major outside run play that we have had that I can remember is the speed option left against the second teamers against Temple.
I don't want speed option. I'm talking just a straight pitch to Sawchuk or Barnes or Tatum or somebody here and go outside. See what happens.
Let me take it.
Go ahead. Sorry, Jared. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is I don't disagree. We can't run the ball. Can't run the ball. It's terrible, right? Like our offense sucks. What I'm saying is the reason that I'm looking at Seth Luttrell and going, what are you doing, bro? Is your game plan needs to have something that you know your team can half execute. Whether that's an outside run, that's QB power, whatever. I don't care what it is. But it feels like he has about 3 plays that he tries to run, and then there's no rhythm to it. Regardless of that, if it's not working, it's like, then, okay, the safeties are still deep because they don't care. They don't need to bring anybody in the box. You're right. So then why are we running fade routes? Like, why?
They're not running that many fade route, but that's my point. Like, you're saying like we're running fade routes every play. The entire Sooner Nation fan base has said nothing about at the game. I can tell you right now at the game, the entire section. When are we going to stretch the field? That was the question. That was what people were screaming from the stands because they're not throwing it deep, hardly at all.
Well, my point is again, it's not even the quantity. The thing is the where it fits into the overall like play call doesn't make sense.
And again,
that's a great point because it just feels like, oh, we haven't stretched it deep. We'll just stretch it deep instead of doing like you have to be in a rhythm on offense, and there is literally no rhythm or identity. And I would like to take blame. You know what? I'll do the OU thing. I'll take blame for the entire game because I texted both of you. I was like, we're starting to feel it. We're starting to feel our rhythm and our identity. And it literally went to crap the rest of the game after I said that.
Look, I wish I could say like I don't. It's not that I disagree. The problem is I don't know what you do with this line. The line is
I get it, but
the line is so bad that
it's back to Jared. Back to Jared's point. If it's so bad, you have to figure out as an O coordinator, that is your job to figure out how do you adjust. And they're not adjusting.
Okay. I just disagree. I mean, everything that they have tried to do to adjust, your receivers drop the ball. So now what do you want to do? You want to keep throwing to the guy that drops it? Because we're going to be on here on the podcast going like we did with JJ Hester. He doesn't need to play.
I still believe that, by the way.
Okay. Brennan Thompson's dropped 2 balls. I guess he doesn't need to play. So I guess we're supposed to put somebody else in.
Keep him on the field.
Right? Like what? Like, I understand what you're saying, but like when you put things into practice that in theory should work, and against the scout team it works, and you go in the game.
I hear what you're saying.
What do you want him to do?
I hear what you're saying because Raggins should have had that 3rd down catch and would have been a first down, right?
Burks should have had a big post play. It was open.
It was an easy catch, and he just
so
misses
was Burks.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. It's basically everything we feared. Everything we feared so far in the first 2 games is before the season. Everybody talking about like, hey, here's the potential pitfalls. Here's the potential like things that could go right or things that go wrong. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong right now.
Right. And like y'all talked about the outside run, we've run 2 jet sweeps. That's an outside run. Can we agree?
That is not, don't give.
I'm just using it as an example. It's an outside run, and what's it done for us? 2 weeks. 2 different teams, 2 different lines.
We've had two. How many times have we ran it? 4 times?
Twice.
No, we've run it more than that because Burks has gotten 6 yards twice.
Negative.
No. Because he's gotten 6 yards twice, and then he went negative once.
He went negative on the very first play of the game on Saturday, Troy.
I get that, but then they ran it again, and he got another 6 or 7 yards.
I don't know that they ran it again in that game.
I'm almost positive.
All that to say, look, I just don't know what he does. I don't know what he's supposed to do. And again, here's the other side. Move the
pocket.
And here's the other side of it. If I told you we've got one-on-one coverage with Brennan Thompson against a corner of Houston, do you feel like the fade route should be open?
I feel like the go route should be open.
Yeah. And go watch every go ball that Brennan Thompson's run. He's not run past anybody this year. Nobody.
That's weird to me. Why?
I know. I don't know. But you go look at it. Zion Raggins, we've been told how fast he is. The fade ball he threw out of bounds, let's be honest, the coverage on Raggins was there.
It was good.
Mr. Speedster. And it was the same thing. He was lined up about 4.5, 5 yards off of him, and it was one-on-one coverage, and we can't run past anybody. So again, like, I get what y'all are saying, but when you
I'm going to ask you a question. Did we just see the best Big 12 team by chance?
No.
I think that's the best Big 12 team.
Utah with Cam Rising.
Please let me live in my delusion. Okay. Let me live in it for a little bit, for a week.
For 1 week. I mean, look, man, I get it. I don't really like some of the play call stuff. And I wish, look, I watched the 49ers game last night, and all I could sit there and think was, I wish that some of these plays were in our playbook. Like, I wish some of these things that we could do that are creative little ways to get people open. But like,
We don't have the O-line the 49ers do. I'll be honest with you.
We don't have the O-line. We don't have the run. And then again, when guys are being schemed open, they're dropping the ball. And now you're at 3rd and 9. Like,
And
what
I will say this, all this Michael Hawkins talk, get the bleep out of here. Jackson Arnold is not to blame here. Has he become skittish a little bit? Yes. Is he
he was
missing some guys open?
He was pressing really hard.
He was pressing, doing all. Is he not reading it every play 100% correct? He is not. But he's also a true sophomore, right? Like, this is his 3rd game he played. Give the dude some credit. He is not Sam Bradford Heisman year yet.
No.
Give the dude some credit. It's the O-line. It's the play calling. It's all of the above, the wide receiver injuries, all of the above. Give the dude some time.
Well,
OU fandom, please don't call for Hawkins.
Yeah, for the thing that I've got frustrated with a lot of people is, it's like we were just talking about this, is, well, I sit here and say Seth Luttrell, I feel, owns a whole lot of the blame. I'm not saying that it doesn't have something to do with his offensive line being terrible.
Agreed.
I'm not saying that it's not with Jackson Arnold not having as good of a game as he did game 1. I'm not saying that it's not to do with the receiver. Like, that's the thing. It's a widespread problem, which to me, again, circles a little bit back to Seth Luttrell.
Now, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I do think.
But again, I don't think people that are saying, well, get Jackson Arnold out of there, or it's like, no, you're not going to take one of those things and change them and it fixes everything else.
Well,
and BV is right.
The other thing that I don't understand with this team, and this is really more BV than anybody else. BV throws these little trinket statements out all the time, which causes you to question the staff even more. Like, did you hear what he said last week in his coach's show deal about Sam Franklin?
No.
Mm-mm.
He said that they tracked every explosive run play through fall camp, and Sam Franklin was number 1 in explosive runs.
Why isn't he playing more?
He didn't get a touch. Now, granted, some of that was the 3 and out stuff. I get that. But, like, we're running with Sawchuk like crazy. I think every person with an average eye after game 1 could say that Javonte Barnes had more juice, more violence, and looked like the best running back, maybe outside of Tatum.
Sidebar, how would rank the 4 tight end or 4 running backs at the moment? 1, 2, 3, 4.
For me, through 2 games, it's Barnes, Tatum, Franklin, Sawchuk.
That's exactly what I would say.
Yeah,
exactly.
And yet we're DeMarco's holding tight to Sawchuk. And see, like, that's the other thing too. Like, here's to your credit, Jared, maybe this is more what you're meaning. I was thinking this the other night. Like, if you know your O-line's not very good, then why are we keeping a home run threat at the running back position instead of bringing in like an Xavier Robinson or a Caleb Hicks, who's just a freaking bowling ball, who at least is going to get 3 yards just out of pure violence?
Well, and the thing is you want guys, that's what you need. Like, could you imagine having like a Samaje Perine type player, right? They got better as the game went on because linebackers got tired of tackling them.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, literally.
I was at that
like, you want to talk about body blows? It's a literal physical body blow where running into somebody and they're going, good, I'm tired.
Now look,
but then again,
Barnes is playing big like that, so I don't want to try to like. Tatum has just found space every time he's on the field, so that you love that. But like, if you really can't run the ball, then get your most violent, big-bodied guys out there that can at least push the pile forward.
By the way, what's going on with that? Because Caleb Hicks, everybody loves, and he hasn't seen the field yet.
No. And I don't know this for sure. I'm not trying to pretend like I have like a legitimate source type thing, but a guy that I do believe knows some stuff in the building. Again, it's off the field stuff as far as just some of the extra things that they want them to do that he does not do. But like when he's given the ball in scrimmages and in practice, It's straight up plays. And again, it's like at this point in this season with where you're at, I'm not trying to say like you vacate everything within your culture, but if you got guys that are making plays need to be on the field.
Yeah. So I want to go back to Jared, your point, kind of with the Seth Luttrell stuff, right? For me, there's no imagination in the play calling whatsoever right now. And like tell me if this wouldn't work. You got 3 wide, 4 wide. Let's say 3 wide with a tight end, right? And you got let's say Sawchuck or Barnes sitting there in the backfield. Send Sawchuck or Barnes, send the running back in motion. So you're empty set at that point. You make the defense adjust, and if they don't adjust, you hit that dude that doesn't have a defender. They're not doing anything like that right now. There's no imagination to the play calling.
Well, the other thing that I will say that is a problem, and again, I think this is because of injury, the wide receivers don't block. Deion Burks is one of the worst blocking wide receivers ever. So, like, to do a swing pass, for instance, and like we used to do where we would put Nick and Jaden and those guys out there and Farouk, and they would block and you could get 7 yards and it's you can't. You cannot trust them. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's a fair point.
When I watch this team right now, I literally look around and the only thing I know is this. I know that Javonte Barnes is going to run as hard as he freaking can, and he's going to get every yard he can. Taylor Tatum seems to find space when he's given opportunity, and Deion Burks is very good at getting open. After that, the receivers don't block at all, and they don't do it well. They do not catch it consistently, and they do not get open consistently at all outside of that. The offensive line does not run block well. It pass blocks okay. But the problem is, outside of Deion Burks, you have guys that don't get open and they don't catch the ball. You've got tight ends that don't block either. If you watch Bauer Sharp, he is a terrible blocker as well. Jake Roberts, not so bad. So, like, when you put all that together, what kind of creativity what kind of rabbit out of the hat do you pull?
But again,
I don't know.
But that again falls back on Seth Luttrell to get them to block. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I just feel like it's a circular thing, right? And we're going to keep coming back to Seth Luttrell, to be honest with you. And again, I'm not sitting here calling for the dude's head. I'm just saying I'm sick and tired. If we come out of Tulane and whatever, and I hear, well, we had vanilla play call, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. I do. But
like, again, I'm not saying this is the point where if you don't need to throw your whole playbook out there. Right? Like, I get that. Like, you want to keep some stuff in the back pocket. But the problem is like, we're not executing what's vanilla. So shut up.
Yeah.
It's a good point. To me, it's going back to 2 things. All of this is coming back to 2 things. The O-line and Seth Luttrell. That's if you guys could rank the top 3 things right now of what's wrong with this team, I would say Luttrell 1A, O-line 1B, and then 3 would be the wide receiver, the injuries.
Oh, it's O-line period alone, and it's in its own tier. Bill Bedenbaugh has been here for 10 freaking years. And I don't want to hear any more BS about, well, Guyton left early and Caden Green. That's 2 guys. 2. And so now you've brought in endless guys that have transfer experience because they're supposed to be great and fill the gap.
But they struck out on the best transfers.
Okay, this is that's your job. You want to talk about a job? Your job is to recruit the best. Like, I'm sorry, you've had 10 years to fill the cupboard with talent, and you don't have guys that are even average at this point outside of what we've heard is above average, which is EPL.
So would you fire Bill Bedenbaugh right now?
I'm telling you what, after this season, I'm sorry, when you really go back and look at the last 4 years, how often do we talk about how the offensive line is not great?
If we go 6-6, is Bill gone?
He needs to be, yeah. But my problem is I think the whole staff's gone if they go 6-6.
Do you really think Bill
you think they're going to fire BV?
Okay, you are the 2 that sat here talking about 9-3.
I said 8-4. I
we're
said 8
about-
and 4.
but I
right
don't think they're
now,
gonna fire
right
him.
now, if
Jared
you
said
look-
8 and 5. You said 7 and Jared said 9 and 3. I said 8 and 4. You said 7 and 5.
And right now, they look more like a 5-7 team.
I don't
3 years
disagree.
in.
But you're telling me if they go 5 and 7 or 6 and 6 that BV's gone. There is no way. I would.
They just extended
I would
him.
bet my mortgage on that they do not fire BV.
They had also just extended Jimbo Fisher. He's gone.
I'm just telling you, they're not going to fire BV, even if
they
he
go
has
5 and 7. You think they're going to hang on to BV?
Yes, I 100% do. 100%. I'll make that bet with you right now. I will pay. How about this? I will pay your fantasy fee next year for our league if that's the case.
Then how many coaches are going to then if that's the case, BV ain't getting rid of people.
I'm just talking about BV. I'm saying if they go 6 and 6 or 5 and 7 or worse, let's say 6 and 6 or worse, they do not fire BV. I will make that bet with you right now. That's $100 bet.
I don't know. I think it's a coin flip.
Come on, you're the one with the conviction here. I've got my conviction on my side. You've got your conviction on your side. Make the bet or not.
If they are 5 and 7, they fire him. That would be my bet.
I said 6 and 6.
I said 5 and 7, Troy. I was very clear about that.
All right, I'll make that bet. If they go 5 and 7, I'll make that bet too. 5 and 7 or worse, they don't fire him.
Okay.
All right. I'm texting Tyler right now. All right, here we go.
And it fascinates me to think that a guy could go 6 and 6 and go 5 and 7 2 of his 3 years, and y'all both want him to stay or think he should.
I didn't say he should. I never said those words. I said he won't be fired. That's what I said.
Okay. I think the fan base and the boosters that are pouring out however much money in NIL are not going to let 5 and 7 stick around.
I mean, look, he's puts dudes in the NFL. You know, I think EPL is a future high round draft pick. You know, I mean, I don't think it's all bad.
And and that's the other thing I hate for BV, or not for Bill Beanbo. And we've talked about this. I thought last year's recruiting class set him up to have a good O-line in the future. The problem is he's had about 4 years where that's not been the case. Caden Green was by far his biggest recruit in the last class. And guess what? It was his best O-lineman. Like Jacob, for example, Jacob Sexton is the one they talk about all the time. He was the highest rated O-lineman in his class. You go watch the tape. He's average. He is average. He's not some NFL world beater.
Well, it's sure, but I mean, to me, that's a little bit of a straw man. Just because, I mean, Orlando Brown was a 3-star prospect, right? Like some of the guys he's put out there have not been highly touted. So, you know, I don't know. I get that, but I don't know. I don't think this O-line is good. I'm not going to argue with that. I think it's well worse than what OU should be fielding, regardless of any of all the, of a lot of things. Again, ton of injuries. You have some departures that weren't, or you had Caden Green leaving hurt a lot.
Oh, for sure.
But that's still back on the coaching staff. You got to keep that. You got to keep Caden Green. If Caden Green is here, this O-line is different.
It's serviceable.
It's like I said, it's different. I didn't say it was great, but I said it's different.
I want that. This is the last thing I want to do on this, and then we can get into our predictions for the next week because we're just ranting at this point. But
this has been delightful.
What has y'all's thoughts been on the injury side of things?
Are you going to bring up Schmitty? Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay. I have 2 thoughts. I don't have an answer. Yes, I've thought it because again, talking about running people out of town. The fan base at one point was running Schmidt out of town.
Well,
because of all the injuries
I'll be honest with you, Lincoln doesn't have the injuries that we have now.
Back to the other side that I've thought of is this. I wrote down this interesting quote that Luttrell said after the game against Temple. He said, these guys have really grinded through fall camp. And I mean, it's been a grind. We put them through a pretty tough camp, and there has been through a pretty tough camp, and there has been lots of ups and downs, but they're a tough group. I think the other thing that you have to ask the question of is, did BV mismanage camp? Because here's the reality. The defensive line's like 7 deep. Can we agree with that? Like a D tackle.
Yeah.
The ends are like 5 deep. The safeties are 5 deep. The linebackers are 6 deep.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about going good on good, they were just rolling guys in, which I think has allowed the defense to stay really fresh and really healthy. Whereas I think we're seeing very clearly, especially on the offensive line, you had maybe 5 guys that were average getting the freaking crap beat out of them every single day in camp, and they never called off the dogs. And then all of a sudden went, oh, and now BV wants to pull his card of, well, availability is the best ability. And so you got guys like Jake Taylor trying to play in a Houston game, who now he's probably not going to play for Tennessee. Those are my 2 thoughts. I'm not trying to put a bullseye on either one of those, but one of those has to be it while you 2 text each other.
I'm not texting him. I'm
trying to find more OU stuff.
But look, I mean, we had this when Schmitty was here last time, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about the going against each other. I mean, that's the imbalance that we have right now. BV's built a really stout offense, and if anything, maybe that's looking. I mean, you can still circle Bill Bedenbow, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm not an apologist to think that he's infallible or something, right? Like, I like Bill Bedenbow, but he has shortcomings. But the other thing is it's like, you have, like, we've also talked about this. The wide receiver room we were bragging about coming into the season about how deep we thought they were. And I still think they are. The problem is you have 4 of your top 5 receivers are out.
Right.
Right. And the running back room, even the running back room we think is deep. Like, that's the thing, is every group has its thing. And I think when you take the offensive line, for one, sometimes you just have the bad luck. We just put that out there. Sometimes you have a guy go down that is an injury that was going to be really good.
Sure.
And I think we've already had that to some degree. You have Caden Greenleaf, who's going to be most likely an All-American guard at some point in his career before he leaves. That you can say, well, that's up to the coaching staff. I don't think the coaching staff was going to do anything to fix that, to be honest.
They tried. From all the reports, is they tried, and they met his demands, and he didn't respond.
That's what I'm saying. I think
again, here's a rumor. I'm not trying to report where you're not reporters. I think the NIL team tried to fix it. I think when he went to Bill and said, Bill said, F off. Because there has been this whole little thing, when you listen to everybody that knows, even the podcast, there was a miscommunication there, and it went too far. And look, I do think that's part of the reason the offensive line is where it is. And matter of fact, Drum said this on his podcast the other day. After Caden Green, Bill had to have a come to Jesus meeting with NIL as a part of college football. And you've got to get on board with it if you want guys to come here and play. So he went through 2 cycles not doing it. And that's one of the reasons that you lost Caden Green.
Okay, cool.
Well, all right. Let's move on. We've talked about this a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Jared, how did our picks go this week?
I gotta pull it up. Put in the last one. Okay.
Any closing remarks, by the way, about OU or anything you guys want to say? Because I cut you off, Jared. I apologize, but we're done with this.
Just to go, I guess we didn't really talk about the preview of Tulane. Tulane, I think, is a pretty.
They're a good team. We could lose. Let's move on.
Yeah, not really. So, we'll go through the picks from last week. So I'm just gonna run through the games again real quick.
All right.
BYU at SMU Friday night game was actually a very good game. That was a crazy game. And we all got it wrong. Actually, no, we didn't. Sorry. Daryl and me both got it wrong. Troy got it right. Troy picked BYU. BYU came out with the win.
You're welcome.
Whatever.
Number 4 at number 9, Michigan. Oh boy, did y'all get that meme I saw you where it was the picture of Harbaugh hanging Sherrone Moore and it says they need a brother, they need a body.
That I did. That was funny. Yeah,
That was hilarious.
that was good. Michigan's
Um,
offense sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. And I was one that Daryl always gets on me for this. I was one that was like, I don't think Michigan's. I thought their defense was gonna be really good, which their defense looks decent, but their offense is pretty bad. Sorry, Texas was favored by 7.5. I think they covered. But we all picked Michigan.
We all picked
so
Michigan.
we lost that one. Tennessee at NC State. Who's your opponent coming up? Tennessee was favored by 8. We all picked Tennessee, so we all won that one.
So we're
Colorado
all 2
at
and 1. No, I'm 2-1. You guys are 1 and 2.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Colorado at Nebraska or Colorado against the Patrick Mahomes cosplayers. Nebraska
Thank
was
you.
favored by 7.5. They also covered. Oh boy, man, we could have a whole podcast talking about Colorado. I feel like, oh my God, what a
Lord,
dumpster
yeah.
fire that is
Yeah.
quickly devolving. Did y'all, by the way, just real quick, did y'all see Sherrone Moore basically throw his offensive
Yes.
coordinator, his offensive line,
Yes.
his
Shador
running
Sanders, you mean?
Shador Sanders,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
All of them under the bus
yeah.
in a matter of like 10 seconds.
This is wonderful. Who won the game? I want to know who we picked. I don't remember what I picked.
We all picked Nebraska, and Nebraska covered. Baylor at Utah. Utah by 14. We all picked Utah, by the way. Utah did not cover. Cover.
I'm still
they
up
won't-
3-2, by the way.
And then Houston at Oklahoma. OU was
All
favored by
picked it.
30. We all picked Oklahoma. Troy, you also took the over, by the way, on the over under, which was 49.5. So we basically all lost. So, anyways, the final results: Troy 3 and Daryl and I 2. So you're up
All right.
1 on
What
us.
are our games this week? I haven't even looked. What's our
Okay.
games?
All right, I'm gonna run through our games. UNLV at Kansas, because Daryl and I got to go tour the UNLV facilities.
Okay, you
We're
guys
both
have inside information on this one. Okay.
A little bit.
we got
so
to. Okay,
I don't want to hear your picks. I'll take I'll pick before y'all do.
By the way, Kansas
Okay.
favored by 7.
I'll take Kansas in the points.
Okay, I'm gonna go UNLV.
Daryl, stop looking like a statue. Let's go.
I'm gonna tweet this.
UNLV.
I was gonna say,
Well,
if you,
looks like
if you
I
pick
picked
Kansas,
wrong.
I will tweet this. I will like record this and tweet this at the Odom.
Looks like I picked wrong. All right, cool. Move on.
Number 16 LSU at South Carolina. South Carolina looked like they may ride it. I mean, Kentucky looks pretty bad, but South Carolina poured it on. LSU, don't know what to expect. LSU is favored by 7. It's at South Carolina.
I'll take South Carolina in the points.
I'm going the same.
I'm gonna go LSU. Just go different. I'm gonna go LSU. I don't want to.
Dude, that
so bad.
defensive
Then-
end, the defensive end that South Carolina has, holy cow.
Oh yeah, no.
They have a couple studs on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
A little bit of next one. A little bit of controversy because I've seen people flipping out about this on the Twitterverse. Boston College is ranked 24th after they beat Florida State, and they're going to Mizzou.
Sorry, Florida State's a joke.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Mizzou is favored by 17. Again, at Mizzou.
I'm going Mizzou all day. Mizzou looks like a pretty
I'll say
well put
BC.
together team.
I'll say BC in the points. That's a lot of points.
Okay, let me.
I don't
forgot
think
to-
they're not going to win, but I think they'll get within 14.
Daryl, you took South Carolina as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
I
then
mean, I did this last year. Thanks for doing this, Jared. Oh,
Yeah.
this is
Okay,
wonderful.
so what did you say, Troy? You said you're taking who for Mizzou?
I'm taking BC in the points. It's a lot of points. I don't
All
think
right.
BC's that good, but I also don't think Mizzou is as good as their like number 7 or 8 ranking.
Daryl, what'd you say?
Mizzou.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mizzou as much as I hate to say
They
it.
look really good.
All right, we're gonna go back to the dumpster fire, going against another potential dumpster fire. Colorado at Colorado State.
Why would you do this game?
Oh,
Last year was a great game.
it was a great game.
It was a great
what's
game
the
last
point
year.
spread?
Colorado was favored by 7 points by a tutty.
Jared, give your pick.
I'm going Colorado State. I'm going Colorado State in the points. Colorado State, sorry.
Yeah, give me Colorado State. Dang it. I don't want to pick the same, but here's the thing.
Is Colorado gonna completely fold? Because this could be a moment that they fold and don't win another game. Or do they pick themselves up off the bootstraps? The bootstraps, whatever
Look,
that
well,
saying is.
And look, man, what the other thing that's hard with Colorado is while they're bad and they have Travis Hunter and Shador are good players.
They're
really good players.
When Shador throws the ball, I'm like, that's a really good ball that comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
it's that's the thing, man. If they're just on one, they're gonna keep
and
it
Travis
close.
Hunter might be the best player in the country.
Yeah.
Period.
Look, I don't disagree, but the problem I have is I think, especially now, I think they're more concerned about looking good than they are winning a game.
You know what? Give me Colorado on the points.
Woo. I love it.
All right. Last one for our OU Tulane picks. Last one. Texas, we're talking about again. This is the battle of the dumpster fire.
God dang it! Stop picking Texas. You know I'm going to go against Texas every time. I don't
A&M,
care what
Texas
the points
A&M.
are.
No,
Texas
Texas
A&M.
A&M at Florida.
Oh,
TAMU at Florida.
Thank
TAMU is favored by 4 points. Texas A&M is favored by 4.
wait, where is it in the swamp?
Yeah.
Yes, it's at Florida.
Give me A&M at the points.
Who did A&M play last week?
Wasn't it like McNeese or somebody like that? I think literally it was McNeese. And they won like 56-3, but it was McNeese.
It doesn't matter. It's A&M. They suck until they play the good teams. What are you looking up, Daryl?
I'm looking at who Florida played last week.
Doesn't matter. It's Florida.
I don't know why we're going this deep on Texas A&M Florida, but okay. Just trying to pull up his deep analytics right now.
I'm gonna take Florida.
What? Oh, all right.
They
What are you,
made
Jared?
I wanted to see what that little freshman quarterback did last week because I didn't
taking
get to
Florida.
see.
I am taking-
Was he
I am
really
taking-
good?
He was okay, but the yardage was insane.
Yeah, it was. Dude hasn't gotten shell shocked yet. Wait till this week.
Could be.
All right, final game.
Did you make your pick, by the way?
Yeah, Florida. Said Florida.
He did.
Okay. I'm the odd man out. I'm about to lose my
Tulane
lead.
at OU. OU is favored by 14. In just case you're wondering, the over-under is 47.5.
Oh my God. All right.
Okay, number one. Okay, I'm just telling you, like, the over under is off the table. It is off the table because that's an easy pick.
What do you say? The under, obviously.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so Daryl, so you're gonna take? Are you gonna take them to cover? Who are you taking to win? Like who you taking in the game?
Tulane to cover the points.
Okay, Troy.
You go first.
I'm gonna take Tulane to cover. Also taking the under.
I just said that's not even on the tape. Like, come on.
No, this is.
It is going to be under. The offense we have is
I am so stupid, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I am very stupid, and I have too much sunshine, rainbows, and Skittles coming out of my ass.
OU and
So
over.
I'm going OU in the over.
Okay.
I think
I
they
don't know
figure
this.
some things out. I don't know why. I'm just
I
going
will say
there.
this. If you have Farouk's not coming back. If you have like a Nick Anderson come back or whatever, then like
I-
if you have somebody like that come back, it might help you a
If
little bit.
Nick Anderson and Andrew Anthony play, there you go. You guys start
I'm just going to tell you right now, Nick Anderson, if he plays, will help. Andrell Anthony ain't helping for a bit.
Don't squash my moment, okay?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Either way,
Don't squash my moment.
we have a little bit of diversity, and Daryl and I are pretty much actually almost all of these are aligned again. I don't know how that
So
works.
I don't know
if I win against y'all this week,
You're
it's
going to
an
have a
insurmountable
massive
lead.
cushion.
Like
Yeah,
huge.
I don't know about
huge
insurmountable.
cushion.
We're in this is our second week of doing it, so
There,
Jared,
what was,
I'll be
what
honest
was
with you,
it?
you
Wasn't it
can't
like
beat me
3
at
years
that
ago
point.
that Jared like went like 1-7 to like start the year, then came back and got second or first, something like that.
I had like
It sounds
2
to me
weeks.
like
I had like
luck.
2 weeks. I had like 2 weeks of like nailing every pick, and y'all guys were losing your mind on me. I remember that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
So I don't know. There's a lot of good football this last week. Colorado self-destructing. By the way, did y'all see the Instagram post of Dion with Shiloh in the hospital?
Yeah.
And
I don't
everybody
pay
was
attention
like,
to that crap anymore.
I was dying because like there's a picture of shot like what was it? He was it like he broke it or he hurt his leg
He broke
or
his
something?
forearm or his
Broke it, yeah, he
arm.
broke his forearm. That's what it was. And there's like a picture of him laying in a bed and he's like laying like this with his eyes closed and like Dion sitting there and it looks like he's on his deathbed and everybody was like, bro, he broke his forearm. Like, why is he napping, bro? Like
It's the Dion effect, man. Like it's the Dion effect. So
yeah.
hey, can I bring up something else? This has been a long podcast. We've all ranted and raved and vented. Can we just talk about for a second? You guys know what my sign off is, right?
Yep.
The Baker Mayfield and Deshaun
Dude.
Watson comparisons. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about that for a second? This is amazing, y'all.
It is amazing.
Like, and have you heard the fan in Cleveland, the radio station? The first call, did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, dude. Go look it up on Twitter. It's amazing. The first caller, the dude is basically like another Jim Traber, right? That's the radio host. Oh, he loses his mind. He's like, I need some time. I can't do this right out of the box, y'all. I know Baker's better. He's not coming back. Like, it's amazing.
Oh my
He's
god.
amazing.
Dude, here's like the fun. Like I watched the Barstool guys were talking about it, and they go, "This may not be the worst NFL contract. This may not be the worst sports contract. This may be the worst contract." And they were like joking around. He goes, "Outside of like the Louisiana Purchase, I think this might be the worst contract in history." It's like it's second right behind that, and it's close.
God.
And they even the funniest thing he said, he goes, "This is gonna sound like a messed up question, but is Deshaun Watson such a bad football player now that he's a better person than he is football player?"
Oh
Hey,
my god.
Is it? Am I crazy? But I heard that the contract actually kicked in this year.
Oh, it may have because they traded for him.
Yeah. Like I think the contract kicked in this year, and that's where a lot of this is coming through. And that's why the new lawsuit waited until yesterday to be filed. Because now he's making his money.
Wow. That's crazy. If so, that's super
Isn't that
wild.
That is so fun. Any takeaways from the rest of the NFL other than my Chiefs are still the best team
Okay,
in the
the
NFL?
other thing that's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I texted y'all about this, and of course, got no replies. But the Mason kid from San Francisco,
Jordan Mason?
yes, the whole post-game interview, yikes.
The NFL already said there's no investigation that's going to happen with the 49ers. And Christian McCaffrey is actually going to be out for maybe a month.
Yeah.
Which, hey,
I don't know how you don't do an investigation into they announce an hour before the game that he's not playing. they told him Friday night that he was starting. And he said right after that, I was RB1 most of camp as well. So I knew my shot was coming. Like, McCaffrey has been a problem for a while. Like, and he admitted it on national television. It was like Saban being at the draft going, yeah, we offered him a ton of money to get in the portal. Like, just straight up admitting tampering, and we're just going to turn a blind eye to it.
Completely different topic. Okay. Two things. One is, how do you feel like Nick Saban is doing with Pat McAfee on game day? And how did you listen to Brady on his first broadcast?
A little bit of Brady. I've only watched maybe 1 hour of game day with Saban on there. I haven't got
Okay.
to watch it other than
I
like
mean,
week 0.
Tom Brady's. I mean, I don't know. I'm willing to like it's his first broadcast.
It
Yeah.
wasn't
So
good.
and somebody made the point. They were like, the NFL got all over Romo about predicting plays, and like, what are quarterbacks supposed to do? Read defenses, right?
Romo was good that first
Yeah.
time out.
Yeah, but again, what I'm saying is like, I think he was a little bit trying to be more diplomat or not diplomatic, but like walk around that a little bit because I think he won. Because there was a couple of times where he kind of said something where he was like, oh, like there was a play. I remember he like started to basically call out what the defense was going to do, and if you knew football, you knew where he was going to go with it, and then he kind of just stopped, and he'd be like, oh, well, but we'll see what happens, and then that's what happened. I was like, okay, so he read the defense.
Yeah, he just came across nervous to me. I mean, we'll
Yeah,
see. It was
agreed.
fine. Like, there are very few guys that I listen, like when people are like, I can't listen to, like, there are very few of those guys for me. Like, I am not this person that listens to a person call a game or color a game and just be like, I can't listen. The only time that happens, honestly, is more so in college when they bring these guys that are alumni of the team that they're calling the game of, and you can feel that they are overly protecting their alma mater. Like,
well, it was like last year when we played TCU, I think it was, or year before, and they had, I don't remember who the broadcaster was, but he was a TCU guy. He's like, oh, TCU's got a wonderful basketball and baseball, and he started like I was like,
yeah,
what
giving them
talking about?
infomercials throughout.
All right,
yeah.
I don't have a top 5 today, but you all are going to give a top 1. Okay.
Oh,
hang on. I want to answer your other question.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
The Saban McAfee thing. I think it's kind of hilarious. I think he hates him. But it's like the frat boy hanging out with Nick Saban. What do you think? How do you think that's gonna go?
Well, did you see though that Saban even came on McAfee's show like 2 days ago?
Yeah, he did.
Like, and it was hilarious. Like, Saban was like, dude, when I saw you do that whole like call the dogs thing with the Georgia fans and then picked us to win, he was like, bro, you're insane. Like, you are crazy. And like was having a good time with it.
I think
I will be honest with you. I love the dichotomy because like I thought last year, Pat McAfee completely took over game day with his shenanigans and everything like that. He was too much. Saban is the antithesis to that.
Yeah.
And I think it balances it out because like I don't care what Desmond Howard does. Like he's just like whatever, man. Kirk and Joel Klatt are the best analysts in college football. They're the best. And then I think Pat McAfee is just crazy, and Nick Saban knows his ish and just balances Pat McAfee out a little bit.
Hey, can I just be honest? Like, here's the problem with game day. I think McAfee is like, he's not my favorite, but there's certain things he does that I think are hilarious and entertaining.
Sure.
Like when he's on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Corso and Howard that need to go. If you got rid of that, the show would be incredible. But like Corso, like it's sad. It's just sad to watch him on there.
Yeah,
like even the other day, or it was week 0 when they had the Notre Dame game, and he was going to do a wardrobe change, but like they set it up in such a way it was like, and they were trying to make a joke of the old man just walked off set and nobody knew where he was going, and literally everyone was on Twitter going, I think Lee Corso literally just walked off set because he doesn't know where he is. Like that's terrible.
Two things. One, at least we're not Notre Dame today.
Oh,
am I right?
Boy.
Am I right?
That was rough.
And the second thing is we don't have a top 5 because I didn't think about it and nobody reminded me. Daryl.
Oh my gosh.
But we're gonna have a top 1. Your most hated broadcaster in any sport across all channels Your
Oh.
number one most hated broadcaster.
Good
I will go
see,
first because I
again.
thought about the question, right? And I'll talk about it for a minute to give you guys a second to think about it. Mine is 100% Gary Danielson,
I
the
don't even.
most homer SEC broadcaster. Even though he's not there anymore, last year for I don't know, like a decade, 15 years, like the most homer SEC dude ever in anything. So biased. I can't stand that guy. Thank God the SEC is not with CBS anymore. Who wants to go next?
Oh,
Daryl,
Jared,
go
I
ahead.
don't even know broadcasters. That's what I'm saying. I don't even pay
So,
attention.
like, there's a lot like Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Tony Romo. Then you've got like
Fine.
basketball, Bill Walton, Doris Burke. Like, there's a lot. I actually like Doris Burke personally,
Yeah, I do too.
but there's a lot out there. And what Jared's doing is he's Googling worst broadcasters right
No,
now in
I'm not
sports.
Googling. I know actually I Googled ESPN because I was trying to remember his name. Okay, I'm gonna go with somebody because man, he's a he's not always bad, but when he's bad, he is infuriatingly terrible, and that's Greg McElroy.
Yes, that's a great one. Good
Okay.
job. Like
Yeah,
that's
I like
great.
that
Yeah.
one. I like that one. This one's hard because he doesn't do it very often. He's usually more sideline guy. The only guy I can think of that I really can't
That
stand to hear
counts.
talk football is Tom Luganbill.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I do like his
Ugh.
like secondary pieces, like his not the sideline stuff, but I like his other stuff that he
Yeah, when
does.
when he's been in the booth for a couple games, he's terrible. When he's on the sideline, terrible. Like
That's a good point. That's a good call
I
out.
do not enjoy. I just
I
think
wish I could, dude. Okay,
it
here's somebody. This is. I mean, can I give a two? There's somebody this season
Yeah,
that's been my
please.
worst.
Go
Andre
ahead.
Ware.
Oh, he's not that great.
He is horrible. He was like talking about how he's like, I don't
Yeah.
understand why anybody would ever run shotgun, and I was like,
I
what?
heard that Jordan Rogers called Jackson Arnold Jackson Dart like once at the early on in the
multiple
broadcast.
times
Yeah, he
early
did.
in the
Yeah.
broadcast. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that's an interesting one to me, like just the broadcasters and
Because like
everything.
who's the guy that does Sunday night football? That
That would
nobody
be Chris
likes.
Collinsworth.
See, I don't mind him. He
I don't
doesn't
mind
bother
Chris
me.
Collinsworth. He's a little too like sunshine and rainbows, a little bit too much. And this is coming from the sunshine and rainbows guy. Like, but like everybody's so good. Everybody's so great at what they do. It's like, dude, no, they're not. Like, no, they're not. Not everybody is Aaron Rodgers. Not everybody is Tom Brady. Like, you make it out to be everybody is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I actually don't mind listening to him because I like positivity, and he is
Yeah.
positivity.
Which, by the way, I found myself agreeing with Jim Traber a ton today when he said, so are we done with now announcing the demise of the San Francisco 49ers
Dude.
after last night's
Okay.
game?
Oh, speaking of broadcasters, I think Dusty Dvorak does a really nice job in the
He's
booth.
good.
Dude, by
I
the
think
way, did you see him? It wasn't so much, well, maybe it was this weekend too, but he came after and what's funny is he does that show with Danny Cannell, and he
Oh,
straight
yeah.
up blew him up on Twitter. He
I
roasted
love
him.
Danny Cannell is a dude that he can go straight to the pits of Hades if he wants. Like, I don't care. Like, Danny Cannell's he sucks, dude. Him and what's the Fox dude that like everybody
Coward.
hates? Thank you, Colin Coward. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Cannell, like, again, he's just pure homer, though. Everything
Yeah,
negative against
100%.
Florida State is the worst thing on anything that makes him uncomfortable against Florida State. He calls out as though it's this travesty against all college sports
Yes.
every single time. And that's what's a joke. And everything that they do is absolutely right and classy and the right way to do it. And it's like, dude, stop. All of us have unclassy parts of our programs. All of us do. Like,
That's what she said.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry.
Look,
God.
That was the best one I've had in weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Unclassy
We have
parts.
been on the pod too long. So
You guys watching anything right now?
no,
Outside of Rings of Power?
I have not even got to watch a episode of Rings of Power.
I did watch. There's a new movie on Netflix. What was that called? Rebel Ridge or something. It's like kind of like a Rambo type movie.
it
It's not
good?
like a remake or anything, but it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it was good. I'm just watching.
I started
Rings of
trying to watch
Power.
Chaos, which has got Jeff Goldblum in it, and
Yeah, about the Greek gods or whatever.
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's really hooked me yet, but it's okay. I actually started rewatching Chernobyl again because I just love that show. It's one of my favorite shows
I
of all
just
time.
finished Suits, and that was fantastic. Like, it's
Yeah,
one of my
first like
favorite shows
5
of all
seasons
time.
are way better.
Our
but
dad loves
Oh.
that show.
It's literally one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, my
I
dad's
want to
all
be
in on
Harvey.
that.
That's so good.
Here's my question to end the pod. What percentage do you give that OU figure some things out offensively this week?
what
I'm going to say
percentage?
70% because I picked them to cover an over.
What did you say, Jared?
What percentage do what percentage are they going to figure out, or what percentage
No,
do I
like
have that
what
they're going
percentage
to
do you
figure
think
something?
that the offense is going to look competent compared to the first 2 weeks?
I can't believe I picked that crap. Oh my gosh.
35%.
Yeah. Daryl, can I guess your percentage?
Sure.
I'm going to say 15%.
No, it's not that
What
low.
you'd say.
It's
Oh,
not that
okay.
low.
What are you going to say? 20?
25.
All right.
25.
There you go.
I think there are. I mean, I know I warred with Jared. I think think there's some ways I can get the tight ends involved. And then I'm hoping that they'll just go youthful. I think Tatum needs to play more. I think Sawchuk needs to be not used. Definitely doesn't need to start. I mean, I think there's
You know what? If they put Sawchuk as like pitching it or options and they get him on the outside and he's able to get in space, that's where he's best utilized.
I'm fine with him in
Oh.
a 2-back set with like Barnes or Tatum.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
okay with
I
that
agree.
too. I agree with that. You know,
Agreed.
but I do think and hope there
Have
are
we
some
seen
things.
many? I don't know if
They've
we've
done
seen
2-back.
No,
they've done
this
some
this
2-back.
game that in the first half they did a lot of 2-back set actually in the
That's true,
first two
okay.
drives.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they didn't do that. Honestly, they got away from it after that. Daryl, I want to give you credit this podcast. You weren't nearly as dark, Daryl, as I thought you were going to be.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like,
Yeah,
I
you're
thought
not
it
gonna
was-
suck a little bit.
I was ready to go to battle with you, honestly.
I mean, I think we all see the main I mean, look, man, I mean, we all see the main problems. I don't know how to fix it though. That's what's frustrating. Like
Imagine outside of just getting healthy, I don't know what we do to fix it. Imagine this defense though with Baker's year that we lost to Georgia in the playoffs.
We'd annihilated
Imagine that.
Georgia. We'd annihilated them.
We would have won the national championship going away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And we'd be having
that's the joke. That's the joke about being an OU fan is now we have a great defense and a bad offense.
Yeah.
So.
Have you guys seen the Thanos meme?
no.
With Levy.
No, it's with OU. It's like we want a good defense. It's like, what did it cost you?
Everything.
Everything.
That's awesome. Well, again, we hope you've enjoyed it. This is this is us just talking ball, talking sports, all the things. Hopefully we'll be able to get into some other stuff other than just ranting and venting over a terrible performance next week. At least that's what we hope will happen. So again, we hope you like it. So please like, subscribe, follow, do all the things and help us out that way. We are grateful for any of you that watch this, listen to this. It means the world to us. So thank you so much. That's Jared. That's Troy. I'm Daryl. And we will talk to you guys later.
Bye, Baker. Come on the pod, bud.